have, and co-salish longhouse elders, that we have the inner energy, a force within us, that if we believe in it, we can heal ourselves emotionally, mentally, physically to a degree, and spiritually. And we receive from Creator through the top of our head, and we can send to each other and receive from each other. And that's why so many people say prayer warriors send prayers for. It's because of that inner energy, that force that we all have that we can send. And that's why, as you can see, I'm a Star Wars fan and have my baby Yoda Grogu. I have R2D2, Yoda, and BB-8 and others, and lots of Star Wars earrings that my daughter and grandchildren have got for me. Because when I saw the movies and they shared about the Force, I said, that's what our elders say. And my daughter got me baby Grogu pendant and earrings for Christmas from Andy Everson. And because we receive from Creator through the top of our head, we can't have our arms like this, our hands like this, or you're blocking your energy. So let's do some Tai Chi or yoga exercise, breathing. And just take a few breaths in, out, relax your hands on your table, desktop, lap, wherever is comfortable, and breathe in and out. And because the weather's changed here in BC to be cold, I heard in Prince George it's -21. Here in Vancouver it's -1 or 2. And I'm going to share my aunt from Squamish Valley song, Syexwaliya song. And the elders fixed it in the 1920s and they named it the Snowbird song. So I'm going to share that with you and then do a prayer to open you for today and then let you get to learning. Chenque mentomi kakakanak chasiam yonsionso tunuyap and manman squalwin to squals to seats. Yonsio manman equatal chet yap, siaya chet yap, okameo chet yap, squalwin to squals to seats. Asking you, Creator, to watch over all your children gathered here today and all of their families. Equatal chet yap, all of their friends, siaya chet yap, all of their villages, communities where they're from or now live, work, and play at in Okameo Chetyap. Put a shield of protection and safety around all of them and help them with their squall and the feelings in their hearts and minds, their emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health and well-being. Asking you, Creator, to hear our prayers for all our family and friends who have serious illnesses, those that have injuries waiting for surgery, those that have had surgery waiting for physio, those that may have COVID in families or are recovered and have long hauler impacts from COVID or anxiety and depression and all the many other illnesses and treatments there are. Special prayers for all of those who have many types of cancers and receiving treatments. Asking you all to pray for my son-in-law that has cancer in his esophagus. Send him prayers to help him as he goes through his treatment that's going to be starting. And share our prayers, Creator, for all of them, for their health, healing, and recovery. Prayers for all our family and friends who have traumas and battle alcohol and drugs, whether prescription or illegal, especially the illegal toxic supply that's taking many lives again. Asking prayers that our prayers help them with their Syexwaliya and help them maybe find the healing path to wellness and recovery. Asking you, Creator, to hear our prayers for all the homeless people, especially during this time of winter when it's cold and freezing cold and rain and snow, that they're protected and kept safe with our prayers and that we help them with their Syexwaliya, and sending prayers to them to contact their family and let them know that they're safe and alive and all right. And prayers for their families that are always in a state of anxiety and worry about their loved ones who are homeless and dread waiting for that knock on the door. So make sure our prayers get them to phone or contact family or tell someone else to let their family know they're safe. Prayers for all our family and friends who may have lost loved ones and are saying farewell to their loved ones, going home to Creator, ancestors, and all those who have gone before us. And that our prayers hold them up as they say their farewells and in the healing days after. And always knowing that those who have left us worry about us and that they watch over us. They're our spirit guardian warriors. And when we feel low in our Syexwaliya or need protection, they are there. And you just need to learn to recognize the signs when you're low and you see a hummingbird, dragonfly, hear eagle or raven, something you don't normally hear or see. And it lifts that heavy feeling. That's your spirit guardian warriors. And so you're never alone. And always remember that. Recognize the signs and let their love cover you. Asking you, Creator, to let today's gathering be yet Whonnock up an excellent work, and that we listen and speak and listen respectfully to the words being shared. Take in our hearts what's meant for us, set aside what we don't need today to bring back another day, and transfer knowledge of information and create solutions for the present and future. Tuma Kwatsi Snachum, those are my words. And I say Chen Quinn Mentomi up. I'm grateful and thankful to all of you for allowing me to join you, to open you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to stay, so I raise my hands to all of you. And as my late son I lost in 2018, he's real happy-go-lucky even when challenged in his life. And I always said, love people. And he'd always say, do a peace sign over his heart and say top left. And I've added the words, I say top left. And my words are peace of heart and mind, love from my heart to your heart. And he always said air hugs when he couldn't give a physical hug. So air hugs. And this has been something I do a lot in since the pandemic, is lots of air hugs. And with the force and energy sent with it, you can feel my hug. So air hugs, Wachayap yo, you all take care and have a great day. Back to you, Tamara.
Thank you so much, Syexwaliya. Beautiful as always. Okay, so Chastity is going to fill us in on what is happening with cohort number 6 and when it starts and all the details. Hi, Chastity.
Thank you, Tamara, and so good to see you, Elder Sequoia. Thank you so much for being with us today for the 6th cohort launch. Sequoia has been with us for every cohort launch that we've had, and we're so blessed to have her support here and her wisdom and her knowledge, and for her holding space for this good work to unfold. And that we're doing here today, and that all of you are here holding space for unfolding. And Sequoia is an elected council member for Squamish, and she does so much more, completed her MBA recently, and just really want to hold you up, Sequoia, and your son-in-law as well as he goes through his treatment. So we'll light a smudge and prayer for you later on. Thank you, Elder Sequoia. Much love to you. So good afternoon, everyone. So happy that you could all be with us here today again for our first DN live event. I'm zooming in today from the beautiful traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples, where I've been an invited guest for the past 20 years. And where I continue to reside part-time with my Chilcotin husband. And I'm just thrilled that you're all here with us today. And I am just also thrilled that Senator McCallum is here with us today to be our keynote speaker. I met Senator McCallum a number of years ago through our shared advocacy work for the safety, health, and wellness of Indigenous women. And we've stayed kindred spirits since then. And her lovely, hardworking team, Anna and James, are here with her today, who hold her up as well as she does her hard work at the Senate. And so just want to acknowledge James and Anna for their holding up of our matriarch. And also acknowledging Tamara for continuing to be an integral part of our DN team and being here as a grateful volunteer on her truth and reconciliation journey. So thank you, Tamara. And to Devin, who is, if you've taken the courses, Devin does everything in the background, answers your emails, runs the technology, makes sure you have what you need. And she's humble, but she's mighty. And we're so grateful that we have Devin here. And just for all of you to continuing to support DN, we wouldn't be here without your support. And for those of you, it's your first time, welcome to the DN movement, which is an invitation to transform. You've began to accept the invitation to transform on your own journey. And what an exciting time that is, transformation. It can be scary and challenging, but also super exciting. And so you're in the right place. I always believe that the creator and the universe and our ancestors have us in the right place at the right time with the right people on our path. And you may not even know why you're here, but you just have to trust that you're in the right place. So DN is one of the world's only online learning platform that centers and elevates the wisdom of Indigenous women, the lived experience of Indigenous women, the knowledge, the worldviews, the ways of being and knowing, and the spirituality of Indigenous women in Canada for now. And it's a wonderful course. It's 4 modules long called Canadian History Through the Lens of Indigenous Women. And we have 6 beautiful Indigenous women highlighted in those 4 modules. 4 First Nations, 1 Inuk woman, and 1 Métis woman who shares all of their wisdom, lived experience, and worldviews through the 4 modules. And today we have a promotional code for you. It's 15% off. Devin's going to put it in the chat. It's DN15, DEYEN 15, and you'll get 15% off for cohort 6, which starts on March 1st. rather. And we always do a live event to celebrate the start of our cohorts, where we elevate and support Indigenous women leaders to come and speak to you, to share their knowledge. And we stand with Senator McCallum as she does the very hard work of being a strong, fierce Indigenous woman in the Senate. And Tamara is going to introduce her. But really just wanted to say hello, welcome, express my gratitude, tell you a little bit about the course. And we will share a little bit more about the course as we wrap up. Some more details, but really I'm just excited to get to our keynote speaker. And so I just also want to just say that it's a beautiful sunny day here in Vancouver, and there's been a lot going on in our country and in our world the last couple of years, but specifically in our country this year. And we all need to just stick together and be positive and keep loving ourselves and loving each other and supporting each other as we walk through these challenging times. And you're at the right place for that at the DN community. So enjoy today. I love listening to Mary Jane, Senator Mary Jane McCallum, and I am just so thrilled that she's taken time out of her busy schedule to share with all of you. So back to you, Tamara, to introduce Senator.
You bet. Thanks, Chastity. I'm super excited too. As Chastity said, you know, we've done, this is number 6, and every time there is an Indigenous woman in leadership that comes and shares their story and what they're doing, and it has opened my eyes and made me feel so good to know that there are so many strong women doing great things in this country. Because as Chastity mentioned, you know, it feels very sad lately, for sure. And, you know, my heart hurts a lot lately watching what's happening in our country. Yeah. So anyways, I agree with you, Chastity. What you were just saying is very, very, very difficult times. And so to have the opportunity to listen to Senator McCallum talk about her journey and what her leadership journey has been like is very exciting. So Senator McCallum, or Dr. Mary Jane McCallum, is a First Nations woman of Cree heritage and an advocate for social justice. Over the course of her distinguished career, has provided dental care to First Nations communities across Manitoba. So I could go into her entire career, but I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time talking about the senator when we can hear directly from her. But, you know, she has done incredible work in her professional career, but she also leads workshops and presentations where she shares her personal experience as a residential school survivor in an effort to raise awareness and understanding. Dr. McCallum, Senator McCallum, it is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to look at my history and centering my voice with my lived experience. And I'm emotional. So to start, I wanted to say a prayer in Cree, and I'll tell you the significance of that. Kitsimanitu, kinanaskumitten, idumistay median. Hitomi gaskitayan tawapataman aski. Hitom tawanskayan anots. Hitom tapagitatamuyan. Hiton Igwasti tawapat tawapamago with niwaguta tapi mama wapitsik. Kinanas kumitten. Idum stay median. Kwesigas kita yan tamam tumibit taman. Tawapian. Tapitaman. Tayam yan. Kwesigas kita yan. Tapatita yan chiche gosti inskata. Kitsamanitu. Piwitap menananuts. Tapita wiyak. Creator, thank you for all that you have given me, for waking another day, for drawing breath once again, for the ability to see the earth, the water, and the sky, and to see the people that are gathered here today. Thank you for all that you have given me, for the ability to think critically, to hear, to see, to speak, to pray, and giving me full mobility of my arms and legs. Creator, come and sit with us today and hear us. And the reason I'm a Cree from northern Manitoba, from Roche, Manitoba, and never ever thought I would be in Senate. So it's a privilege to be where I am. But I had lost my language when I went to residential school. So every time that we pray or speak our language, we get back some of the power and spirit that was taken away from us. So it was important for me to say Cree. Okay. I wanted to thank the conference facilitators and the organizers for creating a space to allow us to meet here today. In doing so, it has enabled us to explore and understand the essence and effects of relationships, the meaning of disconnection and reconnection, and its significance to roots and grounding, and the pain of loss throughout our lives as First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and non-status women. Thank you for the privilege of exploring our past so we can center our voices amid the ongoing chaos, betrayal, and trauma, because we know that is not who we are. Through this centering, we can arrive at compassion, kindness, and maybe even forgiveness of ourselves and others. This in turn will allow us to move forward towards our ancient and affirmative place of seeing, knowing, and being respectful of our own unique earth journeys. I wanted to say a special thank you to Anna and James, who have been with me since I started. I don't know why I'm so emotional. I want to thank all the elders, knowledge keepers, chiefs, scholars, women, men, allies who have written books, masters, PhDs, stories, teachings, because their lived experiences and wisdom centered me the most. We have been gifted with the most remarkable ancestors, living and past, and for that I am grateful. It strengthens my resolve to honor them and myself through the work which we have been entrusted in preparation for the generations yet to come. As we age in life, cracks form over time, but it is those cracks, that fragility, that determined my stories. What made me want to keep going, to find out where I would go next and what my purpose in life was and is. The little girl of 4 entered the cold steel doors of the strange, huge building and was met by 2 women who wore long black dresses and spoke a foreign language. She stood in front of the other girls, unruly curls hanging down to her bum, and beside her, her little trunk filled with candies. Her father had packed the trunk. She left the little community in the woods by plane, a scary, noisy machine made of metal, which took off from the frozen lake. Her sister had been beside her during her travel, but it was of little comfort, as everything she saw was overwhelmingly strange and frightening. She had cried almost the whole way. She just wanted to be home with her mama and papa, brothers and sisters in the small warm cabin in the woods. When nighttime came, she could no longer hold back her tears. She cried from her heart and soul because she was so lonesome, displaced, and heartbroken. She cried for many nights over the winter, and her brother was brought from the next building to stay beside her and comfort her. I took this from Bless Me, Father, for I Have Sinned, which was published in First Lady Nation, Volume 2 in 2014, and I wrote a chapter in the book. And Bless Me, Father is about that notion of sin and confession. And I was really excited about it. And when you're a child, you don't know how you contribute to your own oppression or how it even starts. So I thought, I am going to be the best sinner there is, and the sisters and father will be so proud of me, which goes against rational thinking, right? Because I was going to be punished for the sins, of course. So that's where that came from. Imagine the magnitude of what society, government, and religious organizations have taken from us as parents, as children, as men, women, boys, girls. Our lives, dreams, curiosity, self-determination, belonging, culture, language, safety, purpose, spirituality, initiative, and voice. What did they replace these with? They took away my language, my voice, and my identity as a Squeezes, which is a girl, and a Squeal woman who was of Korean Métis descent. And over the years in school, I was made to feel ashamed of myself and people that looked like me and sounded like me. And even after our languages were gone, the system continued to take away from us and replacing our ways with theirs, but we didn't know. And it was made easier. The assimilation was made easier and faster because we had now adopted English as our first language. Language plays such an important role in giving identity or removing it. Removal of the mother tongue is critical in the early stages of a child. The dominance of the French and English languages in Canada and the power and sovereignty they carry continues to lessen and diminish Indigenous cultures. Through the English language, we absorb their thoughts, beliefs, customs, and language, and is therefore used as a cultural tool of oppression. The use of the English language has even introduced the notion of oppression into our own languages. For example, the Cree word for Treaty Indians is Iskunigan, which means leftover. That word did not exist prior to the Indian Act. The phrase assimilation process is wahanitigi, the making of a pet. Wahanatat means pet, taking something out of its natural environment and where they live, and they become weak and dependent on the system. So you can see how we start to understand ourselves through the eyes, lens of oppression and assimilation. And you contrast this with the old language, ni daw tipidimisuyan, meaning exercise in sovereignty and belonging to oneself. So that was the language we had pre-colonial times. Our language absorbs the context of where we live and is central to a people's definition of themselves in relation to its natural and social environments, as well as its governance structure. In the book, Who We Are, Treaty Elders Teachings, Volume 1, Darcy Linklater states, the Cree word signifying the great law of the Creator, Aski, Kanachi, Puminigiwin, means that the conduct of a person must be in accordance with the sacred duty to protect Ntaskiwin, the land, life, home, and spiritual shelter entrusted to us by Kichimanitu for our children. So when we're playing out in the land, the creativity that we practice there is different from the book learning where we went to residential school. And with book learning, it's all memory work. Book learning moves away from the creativity required to develop the language and concepts that are needed for the continuation of our traditions, as well as the building of critical thinking skills that are cognizant and respectful of the natural and social environment. When I was about 8, I was home from residential school and I spoke Cree to my dad, and he turned to me and he said, "Speak English." I remember being surprised. I was later to learn that he meant for me to master the English language because we had no choice. In residential school, the use of Cree would result in punishment. My dad later told me that I could relearn my Cree language as it would always be with me since I had been fluent in it at one time. But whatever language we speak, we need to master it, especially the English language. In the book, Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown, I read a lot of books, so I get a lot of growth from them. By Brené Brown, she writes that the philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein once stated, "The limits of my language means the limits of my world." And when you look at that, the limits of our world, who limits our world? Somebody else used to do it. And I did it because of the oppressed within me. And now, I'm saying that's enough of these limits, and we need to think like that. She goes on to say, language is our portal to meaning making, connection, healing, learning, and self-awareness. Having access to the right words can open up entire universes. Without accurate language, we struggle to get the help we need. We don't always regulate or manage our emotions and experiences in a way that allows us to move through them productively, and our self-awareness is diminished. Language shows us that naming an experience doesn't give the experience more power. It gives us the power of meaning and understanding. The word sovereign in Cree is itipidimisut. He or she belongs to themselves. So why then haven't I been able to fully relearn my Cree language to become a fluent speaker again? Is it because I still don't feel I belong to myself? And this is a revelation that came to me yesterday. I think I rewrote this awakening for me 5 times. And I thought, is it because I don't feel I belong to myself, or that I'm scared to belong to myself? And it's been very difficult for me to get my Cree language because I choose to make it difficult. There is also shame in my mother language because of the indoctrination of the savage and uncivilized by the nuns and the priests. How do we begin to center ourselves as we move through the cycle of life as children, as teens, as women, and as senior citizens or elders when we have been raised by trauma? How do we create ourselves when we have also been raised by structural violence, pain, stress, anxiety, vulnerability, fear, and the numbing that trauma carries with it? Because these are all emotions that I have gone through in my life. I have experienced anxiety so badly that I understand why people commit suicide. But I had the resources to deal with it, to go for counseling, and to start moving on with my life. Being raised in the sterile and regimental atmosphere of residential school ensured that I didn't understand how my emotions shaped my thoughts and decisions. These emotions specifically include frustration, anger, boredom, disappointment, discouragement, shame, and dehumanization. You will notice that there were no positive emotions named. Running away from emotion was a path I took for a long time. I carried on a life that was soulless, purposeless, and unhappy. This behavior led me to a risky lifestyle to try to fit in somewhere in society, a society that devalued the contributions and lives of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and non-status girls and women. There was that death of the Helen Betty Osborne in the pond. She had been in the residential school with me. And when her death came about, one of the RCMP came to me because I was a keynote speaker at our residential school gathering. And he said, "Have you ever dealt with her death?" And I said, "No. I have pretended it doesn't involve me." And I had heard of other women in the PA, because it was near the PA, went missing and murdered. And I think I was like 15 then, and I thought, oh, it's because they were drinking, and that is how we were taught. So I've had distanced myself from missing and murdered women because I could have easily been one of them. And so when my defining moment of change started, when people asked me, "Why don't you go back to school?" I worked as a chambermaid. I worked as a teller in the store at home. I worked in a fish camp, cutting worms out of fish. I worked in sewing in a sewing factory. And I finally decided I went to take my stenography and worked in an office. But I soon outgrew. I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be. So I worked as a dental assistant going up to the Northern Reserves in 1973, and I remained in the dental field as a dental nurse, dentist, dental therapist, and then a dentist. So centering myself through those years of education, being a student, becoming a mother, and being a partner all at the same time were difficult years for me because I didn't have a role model. If you think about it, students that were in residential school were motherless and fatherless. And that does something to, your ability to start a family immediately, I didn't understand the power, purpose, and functions of these various relationships and their importance to disconnection and reconnection. Because when you're moving through life and you don't understand it, you're continually disconnecting from this, from that, and reconnecting to others. And it's a very busy life. And, but my husband and children, they have centered me. But I still feel today that I wasn't a good mother or wife. The child within me continued to compete with my children and my partner because most of the students, we came out as adolescents. we hadn't completed our journey from child to adult. You know, we weren't allowed to go into the adolescent stage. And I also concentrated on cleaning the house until my husband told me one day when I was in pre-med, he said, if you continue to clean, your studies are going to suffer. And the cleaning was that every night, everything was in its place, and I would wash the floors every single night. And, you know, it took took energy. And because I knew he spoke the truth, and because of the trust, I was able to let go of the cleaning, which was a remnant of residential school. And there were other people I listened over my lifetime. And these are the stories that go with them. When we were in residential school, we used to have square dances. And we were being taught how to square dance. And I was a very bossy little girl. So I used to run around and say, no, that's not the way you do it. This is the way you do it. And one of my sisters said, okay, little Miss Perfect, let's see how you do this. And I was like, when I saw myself through those eyes, but it's learning to put yourself in a box that somebody has defined for you, because we had to be perfect for Jesus. And if he didn't like little bad girls. So, you know, you learn in your own imperfect little world that you make your own interpretation, I guess is what I'm saying. And initiative was frowned upon as well. So, and it was looked as a form of rebellion, or, you know, so when you took the initiative to do that, I realized I had to rein that in and stay in this box that others had made for me. And another incident was when we would play baseball and I would bat, run around, and when it came my turn, I would change the rules. So when someone said, why are you always changing the rules when it's your turn? You know, and I realized that was another behavior that I had that I tried to rein in after that, because I saw that unfairness. I hadn't seen myself through their eyes. And then one of my sisters said, you're raising your children like the nuns raised us. So those are important lessons to learn, right? And then another friend, when we were in pre-med, she said to me, not everyone will like you. And that had driven me unconsciously for many years, the wanting to fit in and to belong. And there is a difference between the two. When you want to fit in, you give up you give up your power and spirit, and you feel that you're one of the group, but you never do belong, because you only can belong to yourself, right? You have to know your truth. You have to know your values, you know, your work ethics and everything that is you. So when you learn to belong to yourself, many times in Senate, I will stand alone. And because I see how oppressive the laws continue to be, and I speak against them. And, you know, and that's my purpose there, is so we don't recolonize our own people. And then I was, at one part, I took the faculty of dentistry to Senate and put in a complaint. And I had to take a year off to deal with it and go for my counseling. And my sister said again, sometimes she's my most, she challenges me the most where I need to be challenged. So she said, you're so stubborn. And she was worried about me because I was refusing to give up. And, you know, it's a big faculty to put a complaint against, especially if you've come out of residential school and out of one institution into another. So, you know, it's stuff like that I learned to start centering myself. Can I ask how much more time I have?
I'm not sure how much time's left, but I'm happy for you to have all the time in the world you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So now when you start realizing stuff about yourself, your transformation starts to happen, and it's very slow for me. And it was back to my own identity rather than the one assigned to me by others. And it continues today. I still catch myself in the Senate. I still catch myself with people, and but it's getting faster. And so the transformation is not like a butterfly, and you wake up, you're beautiful, you can fly, you have wings, you're your best self. Mine was awkward, it was insecure, it was frightening, it was seemingly directionless and painful while I was walking on this journey. It is more now like the adolescent stage I hadn't been allowed to go through, where one transformed from a child to an adult, and they call that like a bridge. And many of us get stuck in the middle because we haven't finished our journey into being an adult, at least for me. So I'm stuck midway through the process. I was neither a child nor an adult nor a senior citizen. But adolescence, for me, it was an unfulfilled promise and a wasted opportunity. We were held back from the total rebellion that is so essential at that age. It's essential because you're starting to be detached from those around you as you form your own identity as, growing into a young woman. And it was a wasted opportunity. And so we were held back from the total rebellion that was essential at that age. But you know what? Adolescence, you still have to go through it. It doesn't matter what age. And for me, it happened later in my life, and it collided with my roles as a mother and a wife. That's why I said I was in competition with my children or in competition with my husband. So how did I center myself in the middle of this chaos? And I had people I could reach out to share my turmoil as I relived trauma. And one of this recent example, which happened a month ago, was I had gone to Regina to visit my daughter, and I had a really deep tissue massage. And the woman said, my lower back, she said, it is so tight. She said, that's where your fight or flight reflex is. And when you've spent all your life like wanting to flee or being hyper vigilant, because that's how you were raised, you're always, it seems like you're going to start running. So they're tense. And underneath our arms as women, these two muscles, I was like this, and she massaged them. And she said, this is a sacred site for women. It protects a sacred site, the muscles. And I had said to my daughter, I felt like I was closing in. She said, Mom, I think you were. So she gave me the massage. Then I came back. That was a Saturday. Monday, I had hired a piano tuner to come, a man that I knew, Métis. And I had been forced to play piano in the residential school for 7 years. So it was really traumatic. I went in from grade 2 to grade 9. And I tried playing piano, but I couldn't. And the man, I said to him, I explained what had happened in residential school. And he came to me, he said, show me your hands. I looked at them and I thought, oh my God, I have never looked at them as a site of trauma, right? And violence. And he held it and he just said, I'm so sorry. And then he said, come with me. I want you to see the piano. And he took the front off so I could see the strings and the notes, when they would hit. and he played, and I said, oh my goodness, this is such a happy instrument. But I hadn't seen that because of the violence and he was there from 7 till midnight, and he talked, he sang, he tuned, and I stood like this, but I was tense most of the time, and I would relax and tense. I woke up I went to bed fine at 12. I woke up, I could barely walk, and I had done nothing. So I phoned, I had taken traditional medicine for 4 years, and I phoned a medicine woman and told her, she said, go get some cedar and have a cedar bath for 4 nights. So I did that. I have cedar trees that grow wild in my backyard and no contamination. So I went and cut them. I could barely walk. I could not even move my head. Boiled them, and then my husband took them up for the bath, and I started. The second night I woke up in the middle of the night, I thought, I never, ever even thought to forgive that nun, even with all this talk of trauma and forgiveness. And then I took my cedar bath, and then I went. The third night, I woke up, and in the cedar bath, I thought about forgiveness. That night I woke up, I think it was about 1:30, and very quietly, I forgave her. And I say quietly because I thought, it's such a, I don't know, spiritual experience that I thought it would not be quiet, but the quietness was, I felt it. And because I had realized I needed to get rid of that trauma and that violence that I carried within me all of these years. So, so it's, I'm slowly working through it. And, and once I do that, then I start to realize, I start to see things differently. And I also, and the other way I centered myself was remembering what life was like before residential school, and running on the land, being curious and creative and laughing and free and not afraid of the land. Today, I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid to go for a hike. I think, what if there's a bear? What if there's a cougar? And that land has changed for me, and I don't know how I'll resolve that. And I remembered that I was spiritual when I was a child, and I had learned the values of sharing, respect, and hospitality through my parents, elders, and when people would come, just the customs they had of inviting people and giving them the meal, and then sharing stories, and then music and laughter and stories. It was beautiful. But most importantly, what I realized was that I was not defective when I entered residential school. I had always unconsciously, I developed the thinking that I had been defective. And what else centered me as well were the power and wisdom of our elders' teachings. And I was really aggressive at one point, and one elder said, don't go for the throat. Always give people room to live in grace. And this would be like government workers. And the first time I did that, I thought, I wonder if they know I could have gone for their throat. And then by the end, it didn't matter, because it mattered to me inside who I was. That was more important than anything I could do publicly, right? And the other one that they taught me was to learn patience. I haven't really learned it fully. And she said, it's what's gotten our people through all this oppression to outlast the government. And then she showed me a picture. She said to me, I can hear the tired in your voice. And this would have been in 2003, I was starting my master's and she said, I hear the tiredness in your voice, but this is why we do it. She said, she showed me a photograph of the grandchildren. So now I think of all those teachings when I'm, might feel I don't have the courage to stand and in Senate or at committee, and another one was nothing happens by chance, and every encounter in our life has a reason. Maybe you're meant to get a teaching or message, or you're meant to give me one. Maybe someone will model a behavior that you don't like bullying or lateral violence, and it ensures that you don't behave like that, or someone will model a behavior that you will like and emulate. So, and she said, when you leave, always thank the people that you are meeting with because they have contributed to your growth. And that is why I thanked everybody at the beginning, because it really made me sit and think, and I really enjoyed it. I just spent time writing and thinking, and it was a good, it was sad, but it was good and energizing as well. And I still struggle with fear today. I don't know if it's fear, but it's that it's still a negative energy. And I believe it started the day I was taken from my home and put on the plane and snatched away from comfort and into this cold atmosphere. And today, and in the past, fear would come. And it was because I didn't think I was good enough and that I was bad, that I will disappoint, that no one wants to hear what I have to say, and I'm taking up others' valuable time. That one especially rings true in Senate. So in giving energy to fear in this way, I'm discounting all my hard work, all my experience and my stories. And I'm coming up with arguments to keep me silent once again. Because with all this centering that we're doing, with understanding our experiences, the aim is to get our voice back. Whether you paint, whether you run or involved, whether you speak, whatever it is, to not be silent anymore. And so I still do that. And letting go of this Mary Jane has been difficult, when I just put myself down. And I don't know why that is. Hopefully I will understand it. So I spoke to an elder, Garnet Anjikanab, and he told me, dig deep within yourself and look for the gift of courage that Creator had given me to speak up and to share stories and perspectives. And the reason I called him was, I don't know if you keep up with Senate, but there was that one senator that wanted to, was always bringing up stereotypes of First Nations people in residential schools. He had a website and there was a lot of racist letters in there. So at one point I thought, I'm going to make a motion to expel her. It would have been the first time we would have expelled one of our own. And I was getting ready for that speech, and I spoke to Garnet, and he said, you have to dig for that courage, and you have to remember that you're doing this for the children and doing it for people. And then I went and introduced the motion, and she did. She resigned before it happened. And the one thing that James taught me was, he would say to me, Senator, have fun. When I would be going to do my speech, and I would be like, how am I going to have fun here? But now I understand, because there's that taking back of that spirit and that power. And even though it's a traumatic speech, it's based on trauma, on violence, it's still giving out that when we have voice, we're giving out taking out that negative energy. And today I ask myself, as I'm making my way back to Creator, because I'm in my last 20 years or so, where do I go from here? Yes, residential school is a legacy I carry with me, but what do I do with it now? So now I have decided I'm going to put my energy towards the little spirits who have been found throughout the country and see what it is we can do as a nation of women, mothers, aunts, grandmothers, what we can do to make, it's hard to say, it's not the ending, but their story purposeful that it didn't end at their gravesite, right? So, but, and I have started to find my way out, as I said, with the help of our past and living ancestors. And I use the word living ancestors because when all of you are living ancestors, and when you think like that, you create a more sacred responsibility, and you're a greater ambassador because there's so much responsibility on you for future generations, right? And I have received so much from them, and they have given me deep satisfaction in knowing that I'm on the right path of my earth journey. They've given me faith that I will not be alone or wander unescorted through my life, because they're always with me as the Creator is. And now we come to voice. I'm coming to the closing. Voice is a gift we have been given. When I give voice, I remove some of the negative energy and violence I have carried within me since that experience of removal from all that was dear to me. Each time I give voice, I regain a little part of my spirit and power that was taken away from me. Creator gave us the gift of voice, which has its own power, the power of communication, the power to cry, laugh, scream, sing, wail, speak, tell our stories to educate, and bring awareness to others and ourselves. Tell ourselves that we matter. Tell ourselves that we have that spark of fire of Creator within us. And in Cree, we call it Achak. That's our spirit. And it, Achagos is the stars from the sky. And when your voice shakes the most, like mine did, it's even more important to carry on. It's very vital. So we laugh, we cry, we shout, we wail, we give voice. For we are Syexwaliya women, Syexwaliya girls, and we call on our ancestors to continue to stand behind and beside us. When I say some of my speeches in Senate, my cousin told me, call our ancestors, tell them to stand beside you. So when I'm facing like here, that they are behind me and that they are there to support me. We know we are strong. We know we matter, for we are voice. From the minute we left the sacred space of the womb, because the first cry is the wail, right? And the first word is mama. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have never been in the presence of such vulnerability and honesty and truth, and sharing your story the way you did has, I know it affected everybody that is listening right now and watching right now, because it was real and it was important, because your words will change people's lives. I know it's affected everybody here, and we will go forward from this day hearing your words in our heart and knowing your truth and your ability to share something so raw and so, it's just beautiful. And I mean, I think that many of us were crying with you and understanding as best we can understand what you have been through. Because when we look at you, Senator, we see a charismatic, beautiful, strong Indigenous woman who is changing the world. So when we know that your heart, we got to look at your heart, and it changes everything. It gives everyone else the courage to speak out and use their voice. And you said something that really, I wrote it down, raised by trauma. Raised by trauma. And I never thought of it that way before. And it's a lifelong journey, really, when you're raised by trauma. So thank you. Chastity, I know you have some things to say too.
Thank you so much, Senator McCallum, for being here today, for showing up the way that you do and inspiring all of us to share all of ourselves, to share our heart, and to share our trauma, and to share our resiliency and our strength, no matter what our title is, and no matter what the Western constructs tell us that, we need to show up a certain way. And you said so many powerful things, but I love that you said, like, the objective is to not be silenced anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the objective is to, like, find our voice and to use our voice. And that is so resonates with me. And, also just like the other thing that really resonated with me, that actually Tamara says a lot, is that you said, like, Mary Jane is seen as like a very difficult woman. And like, when we stand in our truth and our strength, and we say things that, that are the energies in the space, but the courage sometimes isn't there for people to voice it, then women are seen as very difficult women. Yeah. And I just want you to know that even though I'm not physically always with you, I'm standing with you in spirit and supporting you and cheering you on, and think about you lots as you spend these long days in this colonial setting to bring voice and to create change for Indigenous women and all Canadians. Because when we're all like lifted up, then we all rise. And so that's the important work that you're doing in the Senate. And I just really want to hold you up and acknowledge you, and what an honor it is to know you and walk part of this journey with you. So thank you so much. Anything you ever need, even if it's just a friend, I'm here. And so is this whole community. We'll be in touch with Anna and James to send along a gift for you for being here. And just really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to be here with us today, and for all the important work that you're doing every single day of your life. And just want to say that I love you, and looking forward to much more together.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. And I thank everyone that is here for being here, for listening, and like that one elder said, everyone that should be here is here. And there is a reason for that. And, and many times, still today, I think I should have spoken up, but it happens less and less. And to be kind to yourself because it's not about perfectness, it's about building that capacity and making sure the resources are there to support you as you start to be more and more outspoken or, in the work that you do. And so it's important to be kind to yourself. That's something that really I had a hard time with. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McCallum. Take good care. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, James, for all the coordination and support to have Senator here today, and also for all the support that you give her every single day. So thank you to all of your team. My hands are raised to you, and definitely looking forward to more. So take good care.
Yeah, you too.
Yes. And I'll
Okay.
hand it over to Tamara
Yes.
to wrap up.
See you later.
See
See
you,
you, Senator. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so we do have just a couple of more minutes because we have some things to give away, and that's always fun to do. And you do have to be here to get our Chloe Angus giveaway. So it is a Salish Sea Spirit wrap by renowned Salish artist and weaver Deborah Sparrow. And you may have seen Deborah Sparrow's work on display at the Vancouver Airport, or most recently, BC Place was lit up and it was stunning. So there we go. We have that. And Chastity, you took over my whole screen there. Hold on for a second there. That was like my whole screen. It's beautiful. It's stunning. And our winner of this is, and I should mention before I announce the winner that if you want to buy something from Chloe Angus's store, you can do that online, and there is a code. It's DN15, and it is a discount, a 15% discount on. Is that right, Chastity? Yeah, yep. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so our winner of this beautiful wrap is Mandy Sellers. So Mandy, if you were here, can you please just type, here I am in the, do it just like that. Here I am in the chat, and then we'll know you're here. Because if you're not here, Mandy, then I'm going to draw another name. So Mandy, if you are here, go into the chat, like anytime now. Let us know you're here. I don't think Mandy's here. Okay, I'm going to draw another name. The next name is Mandy there yet? No. Okay. Renee McGurry. Renee McGurry. Renee, are you here? I know about 10 people have left, but Renee, you're not here?
No.
Renee. No. Okay. Renee's not here. Okay. Next down the list. Holy moly. Anik Davignon. I hope I'm saying your first name right. Anik Davignon. I thought that was it, but that was Angela saying thank you. Okay. Anik, you're not here? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go again for the wrap. Oh, you know her. Does that count? Chastity?
Sure, as long as we can get a hold of her.
Okay,
yeah.
as long as, so Rania, do you really know her, Rania? Or are you just saying that?
I do know her. Okay. She's my colleague. She's my colleague. Yes.
Oh, Tanya's not happy. Okay, so Rania,
but it's fine. It's fine if it's, it's completely fine. I just felt inclined to say that.
Of course. So no, Tanya's just kidding. So Rania, who do you know? You know Anik? Okay,
Anik
perfect.
Davignon.
Okay, so we will.
Can you put her name in the chat to Devin, or her email in the chat to Devin? And then Devin will follow up.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. And then we also have a draw. And Chastity, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to announce it, or do you want to?
Go for it.
Okay, I'll announce there's 4 free memberships that for DN starting March 1st. and you don't have to be here for it. But we have drawn 4 names to take the course on chastity. So it is Georgia Larson, Adriana Austin, Julie Kesh, and Nicole Weatherly. Those 4 people will be receiving a full scholarship to take the course or membership of DN. And that is courtesy of Chastity. And then Devin is just adding in the code for the 15% off and the website, which is deyen.ca. I've taken the course. It's incredible, and it is suitable for all ages. And men too, not just women. It's suitable for everybody. Chastity, anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, just want to thank everyone for coming today, and also just to help us spread the word. I have a goal of 1 million Canadians taking the DN training. And so it's an ambitious goal, but I know that together we can get there. So if you have friends that you think would benefit, the training has 6 women that are highlighted and a really wonderful history lesson. And so you'll learn more about stories like Senator McCallum's and Indigenous women using their voice. Just want to acknowledge also Belinda, who is here. She's a Navajo woman. She was burning cedar in the background, holding space for that ceremonial connection for all of us. So thank you, Belinda. And look forward to more. We'll have some more events coming up this year, some more modules, new modules coming out. And just really from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your support, for your presence, and for spending some of your afternoon with us. And check us out, deyen.ca. If you're posting today about the event, you take some screenshots in your posting, please use the hashtag DNTransform. And thank you so much, Tamara and Devin and Syexwaliya, Senator McCallum and her team, Anna and James, for the support today, and looking forward to so much more. Take good care, all my relations.
Bye-bye.